While His Holiness is making introductions, I'll introduce myself. I'm Laurel Porter from KGW News Channel 8, and I'm pleased to be your MC for today. I'm also the host of our current affairs show, Straight Talk. We had an enlightening interfaith event this morning called Spirituality and the Environment with His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, and regional religious leaders. And if you were there this morning, I think you enjoyed it. I know His Holiness says he enjoyed it. It was an amazing morning. We also want to welcome the people who are watching us online as we live stream. I'm wearing a katya, which is a traditional Buddhist scarf of welcome that His Holiness gave me at the earlier session, and I'm honored to be wearing it. Thank you, His Holiness, for being here. Today's event is co-sponsored by Maitripa College and the University of Portland. We want to remind you there's no recording, no flash photography, please. You can use your cell phones to take pictures with no flash, but please silence your cell phones out of respect. Portland Mayor Charlie Hales has agreed to introduce His Holiness for us this afternoon. I would also like to introduce, you see the gentleman here, His Holiness's translator, Geshe Tupten Jimpa. Let me tell you a little bit about our mayor of Portland. Mayor Hales earned his degree in political theory from an honors program at the University of Virginia. He initially ran for Portland City Council in 1992. His message was straightforward. Portland is about to grow, and how we grow is very important. Mayor Hales was elected that year to council and twice more. In the ensuing decade, he turned his views into action again and again. At the Transportation Bureau, he championed light rail expansion, streetcar development, and safe bicycle routes to reduce traffic congestion and improve the environment. Mayor Hales is on the boards of Friends of Trees and the Portland Parks Foundation. His work has been honored by the Bruner Foundation of Urban Excellence, the American Society of Landscape Architects, the Oregon chapter of the American Planning Association, and the League of Oregon Cities, and the Portland Bicycle Transportation Alliance. Please welcome Portland Mayor Charlie Hales to introduce His Holiness, the Dalai Lama.
Thank you, Laurel, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the City of Portland, I want to thank His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, for blessing us with his presence here in our city. And I want to thank the University of Portland and Maitripa College for playing host for the 2013 Dalai Lama Environmental Summit. I can't think of a better place to host a summit on the environment than right here in our City of Roses. As Portlanders, we do so much to try to have a positive influence on our environment and to live in harmony with the natural world. While most cities, we included, build parks, Portland is in a way a city inside of a park. We have oceans and rivers and mountains that surround us in every direction, great farmland that nourishes us. This immediate proximity to the natural environment has shaped our lives and our culture and directs the way we think and act here in Portland. Now, people from all over the world turn to us as a model for transportation, for parks, for green initiatives, for sustainability. When they see our transit system, our city parks, they often say, how did you get people to come together and collaborate to do that? The answer that I give is simple. It's part of our culture. People in Portland want to do that this way. We celebrate a culture that is now more and more linked into the world of tomorrow that we want to create. We see this work not only in making our physical surroundings greener and cleaner and more beautiful, but also in how we treat one another. We try to model that same stewardship. So here in Portland, we take our value of environmental stewardship, and yes, we turn it into laws, and yes, we turn it into public works, but most importantly, we turn it into a state of mind. And that's why His Holiness's message and discussion with us as citizens of the world and citizens of this place is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I stand before you today as the mayor of this beautiful global city of ours. Please join me in welcoming His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Thank you.
Thank you. Correct. Thank you, David.
It's all
Okay.
yours now, so you can either speak from here or from the podium.
Yeah. What the? Dear brothers and sisters, indeed I'm very happy and a great honor to speak. I think variety of people, different dress. But I always stress oneness of human being. I feel that is something very, very important. Look, see many conflict in the past and the present, and also if we don't don't look wide away, future also, you see, this kind of conflict will remain. So most of these conflicts are our own creation. These sort of man-made problems, I think not only men, but the female also sometimes create some problems. I think anyway, I think these violent action more related with male. Compassion, affection, care. I think biologically, female, they care more, isn't it? So I think it is, not wrong, say, man-made problem, I think. So this problem, actually, too much emphasis, importance of secondary level of differences, including religious faith, and different nationality, different races, and within same sort of faith, same nationality, again, so they make differences, social background, educated, uneducated, rich and poor, and further, influential or not influential. Too much of emphasis in these differences, the secondary level of differences. So therefore, if we think more of fundamental level, now for example today, 7 billion human beings are same human being, same, mentally, emotionally, physically. So if we really, you see, look fundamental level, hardly, not much sort of reasons to kill each other. I think the native Hawaiian, see, they have one saying, your blood is my blood. Your bone, well, my bone. So that means your suffering is my suffering. Your happiness, my happiness. I think we really need that kind of sort of attitude. Entire humanity, same human being. Then here, more important, all 7 billion human beings want happy life. Do not want suffering. And everybody have right to achieve happy life. So, and then we are social animal. Even for those, the animal, like some of these ants or bees, and other some social sort of animal, because of their basic nature, is live together as a group, without religion, without constitution, without police force. They work together. Very strong sense of community. It is necessary for their survival. So basically, we also social animal. So individual human beings sort of survival depend on the rest of the society. So in such sort of nature sort of the creation, extreme self-centered attitude, and don't bother, don't care about others' right, others' life. And with that, manipulate other, bully other, exploit other, cheating other, telling lies other. Actually, destroying basis of your own future. Because we are a social animal. So therefore, the sense of concern of others' well-being, the rooted, strong sort of concept, oneness of humanity. So therefore, I think it is very, very important. We must think more on fundamental level. We are same human being. For example, when I met people, I look at you, another human being. No differences. And I myself also consider I'm another human being. One of the 7 billion human beings. No differences. Races or faith, all these are secondary. So if I come here to talk with sort of strong feeling, I am Buddhist. And perhaps furthermore, I am Dalai Lama. Oh, holy, His Holiness. And then that kind of sort of mental attitude automatically creates some kind of distance from you. As soon as you look other, something different than you, and also you yourself also is considered something different, then these sort of uneasiness is come. So therefore, I practice this. Of course, firstly, our teaching, we always say, mother sentient being. Even no make distinction, human being, or animals, or insects, like that. Eventually, if we receive some visitor from another galaxies come, look, same human being. Maybe little different sort of shapes. But basically same. Then furthermore, same sentient being. Respect them. Look at them as the same sentient being. We can immediately shake hand. If they have some sort of similar hand there, then we can shake hand. If we too much consider, we have too much emphasis, we are human being on this planet, then something is to come from outside, a stranger, always watchful, right? That creates more anxiety, more fear. So since my sort of childhood, I always see mixing with people, and especially those, including sweepers. I love these sort of sweepers. They are more honest than those officials. Yeah. So, when I ask, you see, certain questions to sweeper, they answer very openly, including criticism about the regent, about some sort of high lamas or high officials. No hesitation. Very frank, very open. When I ask the same question to some officials, then they say, something happened, but still very good. That kind of attitude, more polite. So you see, because you see their own position, they consider their position is something important. Those sweepers, I think they are talking on the level of a human being, like that. So therefore, it is really important. You see, we must think we are same human being. Sometimes you see, some book you see wrote about Tibet, third eye, right? Or then maybe consider something different human being. Then Tibetans should consider something special, right? Something different. So in any way, so we are same human being, so we must think. Now here, sometimes you see people fond to make distinction east and west. Silly. No sufficient reasons. We are same human being. I think one clear example, Easterner can easily, happily marry with Westerner and can produce nice children. So that means we are same human being. We cannot marry with monkey or with some other. We cannot produce. I think we can sex with these animals, but we cannot produce good children. Okay. So that is sufficient to sort of prove we are same human being. So like that. So therefore, once we have, you see, this sort of strong belief we are same human being, oneness of human being, humanity, then automatically comes or automatically develop the sense of global responsibility. And now modern economy, global economy, also is don't care about differences of religious faith or difference of nationality. Global economy is beyond national boundary or beyond religious faith, difference of faith. And then the environment issue and global warming. Entire humanity facing these problems. So therefore, the reality also now telling us we should act like same human community. So now here, more important, we are in 21st century. 20th century already gone. Look, 20th century, in that century, I think one of the most important century of human history. In the sense, you see, in that century, we really developed the scientific knowledge, and also with help of that knowledge, technology also highly developed. But at the same time, that century become century of bloodshed, century of violence. According to some historian, in 20th century, the number of people who killed through violence is around 200 million, including use nuclear weapon. So if that immense violence or suffering really create new, better shape of the world, and then you may argue that immense violence happen, but a positive result happen. That this is not the case. Even I think, beginning of this 21st century, some sort of violence here and there, although small scale, but these are the consequences or symptom of the past negligence or past mistake. More violence, more negative reactions. Violence can control body, not mind. Mind can change by affection, by forgiveness or these positive mental attitude, not by weapon. If you use weapon, it's seeding more hatred, more anger, resentment. So it's exactly what happen. But some cases are the exception case also is there. I usually is telling the Japanese, I have many friends in Japan. On quite a number of occasions, I ask audience, do you have some kind of negative feeling towards America? Because you suffer a lot. And also, actually, 2 atom bomb, you see, used on your on your people. They say no negative feeling. As well as German people, during war, a lot of suffering, but no negative feeling. When Obama, as a candidate, visit Berlin, I think around 200,000 German people, you see, showing, welcoming him like that. So in many cases, I ask the Germans, you see, no negative feeling. Then also I almost consider as my tutor one German physicist, quantum physicist, von Weizsäcker, the elder brother of former then West German was the president. Here is a little bit strange story, a funny story. I often used to telling people, I consider him my tutor about quantum physics. So when when I sort of get lesson from him about quantum physics, seems I understand something. After that lesson finished, nothing left here. So that means wonderful student, hopeless student. So in any way, you see, one way, you see, because it's that kind of sort of contact, so eventually we become very close friend. Once he told me when he was young, as a young German, every German eye, French is their enemy. Similarly, in French eye, German is their enemy. Then he said, nowadays, is that kind of attitude completely gone. So human mind can change. If positive circumstances, positive sort of environment happen, then these negative things can change. So now, the 20th century, since is becoming century of bloodshed, century of violence, failed to bring new world, happy world. So therefore, now we must look, we must sort of think. This 21st century should be century of peace. Peace does not mean no longer any problem. No. Problem will remain. I think basically, so long we human beings with this sophisticated brain and different visions, different sort of ambitions, these are source of problem. So problem will remain. Now, a lot of problem will remain. And then meantime, you see, we must make this century peaceful century. Then how? That means any problem must deal with non-violent way. That means through dialogue, with sort of also the firm belief we are same human being. We have to live together. So their interest, my interest, their interest. So therefore, on that belief, compromise. That's the basis of meaningful dialogue. So, in order to create peaceful century, this 21st century, this century should be century of dialogue, not century of a weapon, but century of dialogue. So that so we must cultivate from kindergarten up to university level. The only way solving problem is through dialogue. Even within family, parents some difficulties or difficulties among brothers, sisters. If use violence, silly. Because the same family. So usually, you see, we try to solve any sort of differences through talk, through dialogue. So that spirit must extend global level. So sometimes I telling the people, if you see we teach from childhood, whenever some problems, some conflict, some differences come, must deal that problem through dialogue. So the children already sort of that idea is to become familiar. So the children, when they return their home, if some other brothers or sisters or parent, some quarrel there, then the student or the child who learn these things and become sort of that kind of concept, become part of their life, then should tell their parent, this is wrong. Differences must solve through dialogue, through talk. That we can do. I think education is so sort of effective. So from childhood, we must educate. The dialogue or non-violent method is the only method to solve any problem, family level or national level or global level. That's one thing. Now again, in order to develop that kind of determination, that kind of willpower, as I mentioned earlier, you see, we must cultivate oneness of human being and some kind of sort of reaction, the understanding about oneness of humanity, then the reaction is sense of care of others' well-being, automatically come. Once you have the genuine sense of concern of others' well-being, then there is no room killing, stealing, bully, or abuse, or sexual abuse, these things, because you respect them, because you really have strong feeling, their well-being. Person who have that kind of sort of mental attitude, how can harm other people? So the key factor for non-violence is respect other, sense of concern of their well-being. These things are not necessarily related with religious faith. You see, the affection of other is a biological factor. Even animal, dogs, cats, their mother showing tremendous affection to their youngster. This has not come through religious faith, but biological factor. It is necessary. The youngster, without others, particularly mother's affection, mother's care, youngster will not survive. So we human beings also come from, we are also from that category. There are some sort of stories in India, some great sort of saint come from lotus. So sometimes I jokingly say, telling people, such sort of great saint may have more affection towards lotus rather than a human being. Fortunately, see, we come from our mother. We received maximum affection from our mother. So that experience cultivates in our heart the potential show affection to other. So this is a biological factor. Now here, a few thousand people here. Outwardly, everybody very smart. But in deep inside, I think there are differences. Those people who received maximum affection from one's own mother, I think those people, in deep inside, less fear, less sort of distrust. Those people who received less sort of affection, less care from their own mother, or some cases abuse when they are a child. So such people, no matter how successful, but deep inside, some kind of sense of insecurity, that automatically creates fear, unhappy. And that very much affects our physical sort of health also. So therefore, our life started that way. So everybody have the potential, you see, to develop further about affection or compassion. I think a problem, young children, I think this morning, those children is who bring some flowers. I think such sort of age, I think the experience about others' affection is something very alive, very fresh. Then gradually grown up, and our existing education, not much talk about the value of affection, these things. So then gradually, that biological factors or what's the quality, then dormant.
Becomes dormant and covered.
Oh, the other sort of human, the quality, more intellectual intelligence, and more sophisticated thinking, and also sometimes society also, you see, influence on the children's mind, more aggressive, more sort of competitive, and aggressiveness. So the good quality, then dormant. So that, I think, the problem. 7 billion human beings come that way, but eventually neglect about these value, and these problems happen. Man-made problems happen. So therefore, I think now time comes. In education field, education system must deal about these basic human values. Usually I call moral ethics. And then since this must cover entire humanity, so among human beings, non-believers also there. So we must find ways and means to reach even non-believer. So this moral teaching of moral ethics based on religious faith then will not cover these non-believers. So in India, last I think 2,000-3,000 years, the secular ethics there. According Indian understanding about a secular does not mean disrespect or negative towards religion, but rather respect or appreciation of all religions. No preference in this religion or that religion. Respect all religions. Then also respect non-believers. There's sort of clear sort of the reasons there. So therefore, according to Indian understanding, the secular respect something like humanity, something like that. So therefore, secular ethics, I think, are very fit. Actually, if you look carefully, all major religious traditions is based on basic human sort of ethics. That is affection, taking care about other. Therefore, when negative aggressive sort of emotions is developed, then particular sort of teaching of forgiveness, tolerance, these things happen. These things come. So therefore, it is quite obvious, all major religious traditions is based on secular ethics, which come from our birth, like that. So therefore, the secular ethics, since last few years, as a result of serious discussion with medical scientists and also brain scientists, all these things, such scientists, you see, we have now conclusion. We really need some sort of effort to nurture our basic human values, experience or capacity of showing affection to other, that must be nurtured through education, through awareness. So through that way, I think we can develop a generation who have more compassionate type. That's the way to build this 21st century be century of dialogue, century of peace. In other words, century of compassion. That we can do through education, not through prayer. So that the fundamental sort of the point of the sense of global responsibility. Mind is mind. I think that covered, right? Oh. So, you see, sometimes my talk and the subject which mentioned in the program sometimes not go together. That in any way, I want to tell something about mind. So these things very much related with mind or emotion, not physical. So it is important to have some knowledge about world of emotion, world of mind. In Indian tradition, where the practice of single-pointed mind and also the insight, investigation. See, in ancient Indian tradition, including Buddhism, Jainism, you see, this practice is important part of their sort of religious, spiritual sort of practice. So, more information about mind, about emotion. I think we, in the field of secular ethics, it is necessary to get more information about the map of mind, map of emotion. But these material, although it's come from some spiritual text, but we can take these separately as an academic subject, not part of religious practice. So sometimes I describe hygiene of this physical, that we usually teach. Now, hygiene of emotion, equally important, in some cases more important. According to medical scientists, physical health and mental health, very close. Too much emotion, too much disturbed emotion here, very bad for our health, physical health. So healthy mind, healthy body, very much linked. So therefore, I think we should pay as much attention as we take physical health. Similarly, we must take more attention about mental health. So usually, when the physical problem there, and then we immediately, our reaction is immediately ask doctor, physician, and take some medicines. When mental problems happen, then we usually is relying on alcohol or tranquilizer, or then drugs. So that's wrong. And some problem in mental level, we must deal problem mental level through mentor's own training, not relying on external means. So therefore, I think, irrespective whether believer or non-believer, I think really worthwhile some knowledge about world of mind. Right? That I think very, very important. That I think in modern education, I think should include as an academic subject, as a subject of hygiene of emotion. That I think possible. So with full cooperation, some institution, and also in India, some university, and also in America, some university, actually, you see, they're working on that. So eventually, like this university, also, you see, may have some suggestions or some ideas. So we can communicate, we can discuss like that. So that's about my talk. Now some questions. Now I'm going to sit there.
Thank you, His Holiness, for that incredible talk. We loved it all, whether it was in the program or not. We loved everything. We're so fortunate to have had you with us today and have this time with you. We have 4 special students from the University of Portland, chosen for their leadership and accomplishments, who have prepared a question for His Holiness. So if our students would come forward. The 4 students from the University of Portland are Adriana Alexis, Jordan Matson, Charity Taylor, and Jessica Morales, and they will ask questions of His Holiness. These young students are passionate about making the world a better place, and they've already spent countless hours working in the community to bring about change. First up, Adriana Alexis is a 2013 University of Portland graduate in organizational communications, among many roles at UP. She was a campus volunteer coordinator, vice president of Black Student Union, a tutor at Roosevelt High School, and a representative on the State of Oregon Student Advisory Board. Will you please ask your question of His Holiness? Here comes the microphone.
Hello. So we had some questions that were submitted beforehand, so we're going to ask the ones that we chose from that pile. I want to make a difference and make the world a better place, but I also don't want to spend all of my time worrying about what might happen in the future. How do we balance living in the moment while working on a difficult long-term goal?
See, change worldwide, initiative must come from individual. So, for example, compassionate world, peaceful world must come through inner peace. So, up to individual. Initiative must start from individual level. So when we look world problem, then you, one individual, oh, I cannot do. But this is, I think, wrong. Like when those who in those one remuti.
Just as when you drop a pebble into a lake, you can see the ripple effects going further and further.
So you individual, so try to sort of promote within yourself these basic values. Then once you see the more compassionate sort of feeling and sense of care, sense of concern of others' well-being develop, then automatically your physical action, verbal action, even if it's facial sort of expression, it's more positive. That brings friendship, and that creates certain positive atmosphere wherever you live. One family, eventually that kind of atmosphere, that kind of habit, then another 10 families, 100 family, 1,000 family. That's the way. Then, once you see the positive motivation here, sense of concern of others' well-being, there, every your action related with that, even business, making money, but with that motivation, from your, or say the profit, use more others' well-being. I don't know, to working in a sort of weapons factory, I don't know. That's I don't know. So eventually, the world, once we truly develop new method solving conflict through dialogue, or once you see that, spirit, then no use military forces. Then we can think seriously, demilitarize the world. And then I think it is quite pity, very brilliant scientists, you see, use their brilliant brain for how to kill human being. It's sad. No matter how high salary, but actually work is, you see, use their wonderful brain for destruction. Sad. So that also I think we should consider very seriously, step by step, how to reduce military expenses. Then eventually they demilitarize the world. Clear?
His Holiness, thank you for that answer. Andriana, thank you for the question. Next up, Jordan Matson. More?
Not completed.
Oh,
not completed.
more. Come back up here. Excuse me, His Holiness.
It is my sort of, I said, the bad habit. Once I open my mouth, then always continuously blah, 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 like that. So you see, with sincere, compassionate motivation, then every your action, activities for salary, for earning, can be positive, clear. If negative motivation here, too much self-centered attitude, even preaching, teaching, also become destructive, clear. So if positive motivation develop here, then carry all your activities carried by that kind of motivation, then every your action become non-violence, become constructive. So, you see the practice or serving, you see the promotion of inner values, not separated from your daily activities or different professions. Clear? And if you see, join some kind of education field, then very relevant. Or medical field, very directly relevant. Right? Like that. So, now finished my answer. Now next question.
Thank you, His Holiness. Thank you for the question. Our next student is Jordan Matson, a senior social work major.
Hi. All right, so the question is, after the recent bombing in Boston, I'm curious about ways we can work to stop hatred that is motivated by religion. How do you attempt to have the interfaith dialogue with people who have no interest in it at all?
this morning's session. You are there or not? Oh, then you already heard these things. Eh? So, as I mentioned earlier, one, you see, like you see French, German, and during war, Japanese and American, and German and American, it's a very, very negative sort of anger. With that moment, the mind sort of fully controlled by anger, hatred, then desire to kill your enemy as much as possible. So use atom bomb like that. But that mind, temporary, always changing, through awareness, through education, through personal contact. So at that moment, say, you see, so much sort of hatred each other, then you see, cannot imagine eventually become something 100% changed or different. Unthinkable. But time passes and makes some, not necessarily effort, but new environment, new reality comes, will go. On top of that, effort. As far as religion is concerned, this morning we already discussed this kind of sort of meeting. And then media also have important role. So must show this sort of same potential of all these different traditions. And then some mischievous people always happen. I think out of 7 billion, at least few hundred mischievous people always there. We cannot control. Whether God created or not, mischievous people always there. So sometimes I sort of telling people our sort of vision, the world, demilitarized the world. But at the same time, some mischievous people are always there, so some kind of mobile, small, efficient forces is, I think, necessary in order to deal with handful mischievous people sort of that behavior, action. I think, like, you see some of these sort of recent sort of say, including September 11th event, and even within Muslim country like Pakistan, you see some terrorists, you see there. So these, we have to sort of work. We have to work, as I teach you, tirelessly, because of closer understanding, reconciliation, forgiveness. Then can change. So this moment, the other fully sort of develop their negative emotion, then difficult to reach out. But with patience, constant effort will change. This is my view. Good, thank you.
Next question. Thank you so much. Thank you, His Holiness, for that answer. Charity Taylor is a 2013 University of Portland graduate in political science. She's been a member of the President's Advisory Committee on Sustainability, a resident assistant, and was president of the mock trial team, which this year sent 2 teams to nationals for the first time in school history. Charity, what is your question for His Holiness?
A lot of news and research about the state of the environment is very depressing. How do we maintain hope? How do we try to ease the suffering climate change will bring to numerous communities around the world?
Yes, now I think this morning also I mentioned the population rapidly increasing, particularly in those areas the economically little weak, poor, the birth rate quite sort of high. Better sort of also economically better sort of society because of less birth rate. Yeah. And anyway, and then natural disaster, I think, frankly speaking, I think will increase because of changing the whole sort of the galaxy's movement like that. And then each individual sort of the planet is also, you see, there I think because of the position is changing. These are beyond our control. Then, but basically, I think as far as I think our own sort of created problem is concerned, early part of 20th century, in the later part of 20th century, I think big change. Early part, I think different nations, citizens, when the nation declare war, every citizen, without slightest question, join proudly war effort. That kind of, sort of attitude changed the later part of 20th century. Like during Vietnam War, many Americans expressed their sort of disagreement through demonstration of these things. Then Iraq crisis about to happen. From Australia up to the United States, I think millions of people come out. So, I mean, against war, violence. So that is, I think, clear sign humanity, generally speaking, really fed up about violence and really keen peace or non-violence. Then also environmental issue. My own life, in early part of my life, no knowledge, no sort of, because of no awareness. Then later, through awareness, then gradually, I fully committed about environment issue. Even you see later part of 20th century, even political party, new political party, their main concern is ecology. So Green Party also happened. Originally, that's the idea. But later, I don't know, some Green Party become like a normal party like that. So in any way, and then important is, I think, after Second World War, during Cold War, you see both sides, Warsaw Pact, NATO, you see, really, you see, prepare, you see, some big conflict out of fear. That, after Berlin Wall disappeared, that eventually disappeared. Not by force, but by popular movement. Very clear. Then I think within 20th century, the new political sort of concept, totalitarian system, after Bolshevik revolution, that kind of sort of system within the same century changed. This not by force, but by popular movement. Very clear. Then another thing, in the past, science and spirituality is something to separate. Later part of 20th century, the scientific research highly developed. Then they gradually, you see, developed the concept mind and mind and reality, something very, very close. So in scientific field, now they sort of not exclude about mind, importance of mind. Now scientific field itself, because there are sort of knowledge about brain activities, they automatically now develop some sort of the curiosity about the emotion and relation, mind, brain, like that. Previously, you see, some hardliner scientists, they simply dismiss existence of mind, emotion. But that now some kind of bridge now developing. So these are, I think, big change within same century. Now this 21st century is follower, continuation of the later part of 20th century. I think, and then again, I think the many occasions when I refer modern education system need some kind of sort of effort dealing with moral ethics. When I give you these points mentioned, India or Europe or America and many places, audience really responds very, very strongly. So these are indication, our sort of concept now becoming more widened and more realistic, more deeper. So this is the sign of hope. Clear. So, and sometimes you see, some people you see have the sort of the impression now we human being, basic nature is something negative. So the future of humanity is doomed. That's wrong. Basic human nature, as I mentioned earlier there, we come from our mother with tremendous sort of affection from our mother. So basically, we are more compassionate in nature, and therefore automatically our basic nature is more gentleness. And obviously, now newspaper or media, if some murder things happen, then immediately report. Actually, thousands of children, thousands of older people receiving affection, serving from out of affection, not report. Why? Basic nature, you see, affection, taking care, take for granted, killing, something unusual. So therefore, basic human nature is more gentleness, more compassionate. So think that way, then no reason to feel pessimistic attitude. There is solid ground, be optimistic. I believe that, and accordingly, I think in spite of many difficulties, I survived. If too much sort of the pessimistic hopelessness, then certainly I lost my sleep, I will lose digestion, then I think more wrinkles. But remain here, more optimism, more hope in spite of some difficulties. My mind always is fresh. Except you see few white now, number of white hair now here. I think these people may not see now more and more white hair. There's one way sign of age, but one way sign of experience, sign of wisdom. So basically, be optimistic. Pessimistic attitude is the real source of failure. Good? Finished.
Thank you, His Holiness. Thank you, Charity, for the question. Jessica Morales has our next question. She's a junior at the University of Portland studying marketing and sustainability. She's held several leadership roles on campus, both in her dorm and with the campus programming board. Jessica, what is your question for His Holiness?
How can interfaith cooperation and dialogue help people understand our collective responsibility to both current and future generations, especially to take action to preserve and restore the environment?
I think I have no sort of practical sort of ideas or suggestions. No, I think like this morning sort of also they are gathering. This kind of meeting, from time to time, should take place in each city or each sort of place. Then educate public through media, like sort of the articles or some talks in television show like that. And then eventually, I think, I noticed in France, I think Lyon or something, I think there is some kind of group or organization who actually meant for promotion of religious harmony. So member from all different religious traditions together. So that kind of sort of the organization, I think, useful. And then that organization is to tour different sort of district or different sort of area within the state, and then talk. And also occasionally is to visit school or college and talk these things. Maybe then these activities should be kasulta tarchar tarcha kasore tujujil member tujujik yam member che korada kodi yanyar chiparch.
So if we can ensure that the kind of gathering that we saw this morning just doesn't remain, one event, but if we could make them kind of more regular, then it will begin to have effect.
So that's my view. Oh.
Thank you for the question.
Then also,
His Holiness.
Sorry.
Forgive me.
And then also, like I think, it's got a city level, or district level, or these occasionally organize. You see, people from different sort of religious group, and discuss the current situation, more serious discussion. Then some problem about to happen, then from that sort of group, visit and talk. In India, some occasion, I suggested, at least this is, in India, the Hindu, Muslim, Jains and Buddhist and usually it's a very good sort of relations. So some group like in Burma, things also happen. From if you see some permanent group, then from that group some representative go this troubled area and meet people and talk. Just you see from distance some suggestion, not that way, but go on the spot and then meet these people. As I mentioned, or lunchtime, as I mentioned, lunchtime, you see these sort of, because of the hostile group meet together and talk by third person, then gradually you see their intensity of emotion can cool down. So that's the way. You simply criticize from outside, not sufficient. Go there, talk, through reasons, through example. I think that's the way. This is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, His Holiness, for answering those questions for us. I'd now like to introduce to you Yangtze Rinpoche to offer his thanks and some concluding remarks today. Yangtze Rinpoche is the president and founder of Maitripa College, the only Buddhist college, Tibetan Buddhist college in the Pacific Northwest, and there are only a handful in the Western world. Rinpoche trained in the traditional monastic system for over 25 years, and in 1995 graduated with the highest degree of Geshe Larampa from Sarajay Monastery in South India. He then completed his studies at Gyume Tantric College, and in 1998, having the particular wish to benefit Western students of the Buddha Dharma, Rinpoche came to the West to teach and travel extensively throughout the US and Europe. Rinpoche was a resident teacher at Deer Park Buddhist Center in Madison, Wisconsin for 5 years, and currently is also the spiritual director of Gondan Shedrip Ling Buddhist Center in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and spiritual director of Dharma Friendship Foundation in Seattle, Washington. Rinpoche is the author of Practicing the Path, a commentary on the Lamrim Chenmo. Please welcome Yangtze Rinpoche.
No.
Yeah,
No.
very tall. You are very tall. Oh.
So we have the Portland family members, and we have all the Tibetans family member. We want to express our gratitude, your promotion of religious harmonies and way to engage into religious harmonies, and also way to engage peaceful dialogue and way to spreading the awareness of caring our environmental. So we really deep of my heart and all our family members from the Portland community, please live a very long life and please visit us again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh.
Yangtze Rinpoche worked tirelessly to bring His Holiness here, and we all thank Yangtze Rinpoche for all of his hard work. We'd also like to thank Maitripa College for everything they did, all their volunteers to put this together, and the University of Portland. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And now
Thank
I'd
you.
like to introduce Laurie Kelly to offer a few words of thanks from the University of Portland to His Holiness. Laurie is the Chief Marketing Officer at the university and says she has the amazing job of promoting UP Maybe the best marketing gig ever, she says. Please welcome from the University of Portland, Laurie Kelly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone, this entire audience for attending here today. I hope you had a wonderful time. We at University of Portland feel very blessed to have been involved in this process. We'd like to thank my Tripa College, and in particular, Sarah Winkleman and Yangtze Rinpoche, who you just met. And at the university, these things don't happen easily, so we'd like to thank from the university our very own Bill Reed. And also would love to give a big shout out to Laurel Porter from KGW, who just did a fantastic job this morning and this afternoon. And our panelists this morning as well. And finally, we are just honored and privileged to have had His Holiness the Dalai Lama here at University of Portland for the second time, and we thank you so much for gracing us here today. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Wow. Oh my goodness, thank you so much.
And now I would like to welcome Sarah Winkleman from my Tripa College, who will read a financial summary for the event. And I have to say, she's put in a lot of hard work. One more. Sarah Winkleman.
Hello, it's my honor to present a brief financial summary of the event. Our total expenses came to $90,462. Our total revenue came to $290,000. We are very happy to offer this money as customary back to His Holiness and the Office of Tibet for their distribution.
Thank you, thank you. Now finished.
I think we're done. Would you like to offer some final words?
Yes.
I was going to let you offer some final words, His Holiness.
Karsa. No. No, nothing. Nothing.
All right. This incredible day has now come to a close. Join me in giving a final thank you to His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibet.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you. It is our fervent wish that His Holiness enjoys his stay in Portland for the next few days and that he returns in the future to the City of Roses. It has been our honor to have him here. This event was just the first of 4 days of events. We are so glad that you all came. I'll make some announcements if some of you want to stay to hear some of the other events that are coming up. I'm happy to tell you some. Thank you all for coming. You've been a wonderful audience. It's been our pleasure to host you here.